Now on CoastTV News.
Tackling traffic troubles, we look at the project in Lewis that hopes to dial back the danger at one intersection of Coastal Highway. Rehoboth rate recommendation, what city commissioners there are expected to approve for the new fiscal year.
This is CoastTV News Midday.
Good morning and thank you for joining us. I'm Matt Pensick. Welcome to CoastTV News Midday. And our top story this half hour is in Lewis. It's a long-awaited project at a dangerous intersection set to begin. The purpose is to divert traffic from Route 1 and provide drivers a way to move around the highway. The project will include 3 roundabouts. Deldot's Director of Community Relations tells us this is the best option for safety.
The data that shows that they are significantly safer than traditional four-way intersections. Instead of having 32 potential points of conflict, you're down to 8.
Deldot says drivers should expect disruptions at some point that will come with notifications ahead of time. Here's some more information on how this will change the roads. New road is getting extended to go under Coastal Highway. 2 roundabouts are going by the current Nassau Bridge. Another roundabout is off a service road getting onto Minos Conaway. In Rehoboth Beach, city officials are looking to stay with their current real estate tax rate. That rate is just under 8 cents per $100 of assessed value. According to City Manager Taylor Tedder, the expected revenue in the new budget with that rate is over $2.5 million. He's recommending at this afternoon's City Commissioner meeting that the rate remain the same for the 2026 fiscal year, which starts in July. And Rehoboth Beach, a great place to be today. Look at all the people on the beach. That is our nation's summer capital, folks. And our first alert meteorologist, Bob Trahey, joins us now. Bob, you have a beach forecast that is just outstanding as we start the weekend.
Boy, Matt, those beach umbrellas, as far as the eye can see, unbelievable. This last day of spring is a gorgeous one for Delmarva. Temperatures are cooler today, mid to upper 70s right now all across the area with beautiful blue skies, and we have a northwesterly breeze. We had a cold front slide through this morning, ushering in much drier air. Dew point temperatures now in the 50s and 60s. Yesterday, we were in the 70s, so it is much drier and much more comfortable, as feels like temperatures now are into the 70s and low 80s. Visible satellite picture not showing a cloud in the sky as we had a cold front slide through earlier on today. You can see it's well offshore now, northwesterly flow, lots of sunshine as high pressure is building in. Just a beautiful day on the way. Futurecast at noon, lower 80s inland areas, even lower 80s from Lewis into Rehoboth. You're looking at highs in the 70s and 80s. Make sure you have that sunscreen. And then mid 80s inland and actually feeling cooler than the actual temperature with lower humidity and a beautiful Friday evening. Day part forecast has us in the 80s with a refreshing breeze, and tonight summer arrives at 10:42. We're looking at beautiful conditions for that, temperature around 73, but a big heat wave on the way as we go into next week, and before then a beautiful summer weekend in store. Much more in your forecast coming up a little bit later on.
All right, thanks, Bob. Happening now, Lewis police say they are looking for these people. According to police, on Sunday, the suspect stole approximately $50,000 worth of merchandise, mainly bracelets, from a local jewelry store. And anyone with information should contact the Lewis Police Department. In Milford, an ongoing investigation into a Thursday morning shooting. It has a 22-year-old man in critical condition. According to the Milford Police Department, here on your screen is where there were reports of gunshots. The 22-year-old was found with multiple gunshot wounds at the Reserve at Sawmill Apartments. He was taken to an area hospital for treatment. We do not have an update on his condition. An appeals court extended an order allowing President Trump to keep using the National Guard to respond to immigration protests in Los Angeles. The president is responding to the violent protests that support illegal immigration in that city. Court declared that a judge in San Francisco erred last week when he ordered the president to return control of the troops to California's Governor Gavin Newsom. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals unanimously concluded it was likely Trump lawfully exercised his authority in federalizing control of the Guard. With ongoing military strikes between Iran and Israel, 2 U.S. airlines are suspending flights to the Middle East, at least for now. For United, daily flights between Newark International and Dubai are now paused, and American said it has adjusted its schedule between Doha and Philadelphia International Airport until June 22nd. Both airlines say they're monitoring the situation and will make further changes as needed. Bethany Beach this afternoon, the town could make decisions on its municipal election and its town manager. So let's start with town manager Cliff Gravit. The council could vote on extending his contract through January 1st, 2027. Also, council members could vote on setting the dates for the town election and shifting the voting hours, setting the election date for Saturday, September 6th. Today's council meeting takes place at 2 p.m. Fenwick Island officials recently confirmed candidates for the town's upcoming election. However, after doing that, it was determined there was no need for an election, as 4 candidates filed for the 4 seats available. The town says incumbents Natalie Magdeburger, Jackie Napolitano, Kurt Zanilotti will continue as mayor, secretary, and council member respectively, and they will be joined by Lucy Wilder, a longtime volunteer and active member of several town committees. Coming up, beaches and federal budget, why the Trump administration is saying Assateague Island National Seashore should not have a lifeguard staffing problem. Coast TV News Midday is back after this. There are mixed messages about the future of lifeguards at Assateague Island National Seashore. Local leaders have expressed concern of unguarded beaches this summer due to federal budget cuts. At a recent U.S. House Natural Resources Oversight Committee hearing, Congresswoman Jen Kiggins, who represents Virginia's Eastern Shore, asked the Interior Department about the loss.
Do you have any information on this issue, and if we can expect an exemption for lifeguards as the summer vacation schedule begins and visitation increase?
First time I've heard about this lifeguard issue at this particular park, but under the fact that we've got many positions still open for summer hiring, we should just visit, because I would think that a lifeguard would be seasonal and be summer. So I would think that it would qualify under that. So I would think they would have hiring authority to be able to hire lifeguards as temporary summer employees, because we've got open recs for that.
Burgum's saying he does not believe seasonal workers like these summer lifeguards are impacted by any federal hiring freezes. Here's what's coming up tonight on the Delmarva Sports Network. It's that time of year again. The annual Berlin bathtub races are returning. You can watch that event live starting at 6 p.m. And then at 10:30, it's the final score. On the DSN Plus app, you can watch the bathtub races. You can also watch the Blue Gold football game in Newark. That one starts at 7.
Spring is ending on a gorgeous note for Delmarva. Blue sky, 76 in Laurel right now. Comfortable dew points and humidity levels. We're into the 80s today. Summer arrives later this evening, then a nice summer weekend on the way. And then we're gearing up for an intense heat wave as we head into next week. Congratulations to Phyllis Musser of Ellendale, winning a brand new umbrella from Paul Davis Restoration and Home Remodeling and Coast TV. More on the building heat as we go into the end of the weekend and next week, and my full forecast after the break. I don't think we could have scripted a better ending to the spring season. Gorgeous conditions out there, wall-to-wall sunshine, sailboats out, a nice breeze, Delaware Bay looking beautiful on the tunnel and razor cam, and very comfortable conditions as we go into the afternoon hours with temperatures into the lower 80s. And summertime starts tonight at 10:42 p.m. That is the summer solstice, the center of the sun directly above the Tropic of Cancer. It's the longest day of the year. This will be tomorrow, 14 hours, 52 minutes and 32 seconds of daylight. In the Arctic Circle, it's 24 hours of daylight. At the equator, about 12, and the Antarctic Circle or the South Pole, 0 hours. Dark down there, and then things flip, and then the days start to get shorter after this weekend. But after this weekend and part of the weekend, we are looking at an intense, dangerous heat wave on the way. Sunday through Thursday, we're looking at temperatures 92 to 97, heat index values maybe topping 110 at times, as we have an area of high pressure both at the surface and aloft. It's going to create a big heat dome across the eastern half of the U.S., and sinking air is just going to get hotter and hotter. It looks like Monday through Wednesday is our main time frame for that heat wave. Right now, though, it's gorgeous. 70s to around 80 in Seaford, 77 Georgetown, Ocean City 75, Bethany Beach 77, and a refreshing northwesterly breeze. You step outside, you could definitely tell that it's much drier higher than yesterday with dew point temperatures into the 50s and 60s as opposed to the 70s, that tropical air like we saw yesterday. So much drier. So it feels like temperatures pretty much like the actual temperatures in the 70s and low 80s as we're looking at gorgeous conditions. This is a visible satellite picture, clear all across Delmarva from the mid-Atlantic all the way up into the northeast as a cold front has moved offshore, refreshing northwesterly flow with high pressure. And this high extends into the upper Midwest, so this is going to keep us dry. But then south of this stationary boundary, this is where things are really cooking, from Texas to the plains and the deep south. And all this hot air will be shifting to the east with time. But this afternoon looking great. Lower 80s around noon inland areas, and then mid 80s from Delmarva to Millsboro, 70s and 80s at the coast. Gorgeous conditions this afternoon, very comfortable, looking great for your Friday evening plans. As we head into your Saturday morning, very pleasant with clear skies, temperatures into the 60s. And then we're looking at temperatures near 90 tomorrow afternoon. I think dew point temperatures still pretty tolerable, comfortable humidity levels, but then it starts getting hot as we go into Sunday, 80s to 90s around the noon hour, then mid-afternoon into the mid-90s. As we're looking at the muggy meter, it's comfortable the next couple of days, but then very humid to miserable. So feeling pretty good today with the feels like temperatures, and then close to 90 Saturday, and then we ramp it up near triple-digit feels like temperatures on Sunday. Then we're well into the triple digits on Monday, maybe as hot as 110, and still very hot, dangerous heat as we go into Tuesday. So we're looking at temperatures well above normal as we go into next week. So make sure you get your AC ready to go and everything prepared for the heat wave. 86 in Georgetown and Millsboro today, 86 in Cambridge and Easton. Salisbury, similar conditions, 86 for you, 82 in Ocean City. Paul Davis, 7-day forecast. First weekend of summer looking great. Temperatures warming through the 90s. That intense heat Monday through Wednesday, mid to upper 90s. Maybe a little cooler Thursday with some storms and a high of 91.
All right, thanks, Bob. And here's what you can expect this afternoon on Coast Life at 4.
Happy Friday, Coast Life, and not just any Friday. Today at 4, our show is going to look a little different because we are live, baby.
That's right. We're not going to be on the couch. We're going to be out in Berlin at the Berlin Bathtub Races. We are going to be talking about everything going on with the races themselves. We're going to talk about some mermaids.
Yeah, we're going to be stopping in at Una Bella Salute. We're going to be talking about different clothing and apparel shops, just all the fun that makes Berlin so special and one of America's coolest small towns. All that fun is happening today at 4 on Coast Life.
Today is the 50th anniversary of the release of the film Jaws. It became a monster hit in 1975, and when it comes to summer movies, Jaws changed the course of Hollywood, and Mark Barger shows us the cultural impact of the film.
Sharks are actually trying to avoid people to the extent that they can.
But sharks grab headlines and sometimes provide punchlines. One shark even generated long lines of moviegoers when Jaws dominated the summer of 1975.
It was #1 at the box office for 14 weeks straight. That means that Jaws was the #1 movie for the entire calendar summer of 1975.
The story of a giant shark terrorizing the waters of a small New England beach town.
You yell shark, we've got a panic on our hands on the 4th of July.
Became a phenomenon.
Taps into a fear that so many of us have while we're sitting at the beach on vacation. What could happen to us when we go out there in the water?
Filled with memorable scenes and iconic lines.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Along with John Williams' menacing score. This adaptation of Peter Benchley's novel ignited the career of a 27-year-old director named Steven Spielberg.
Anyone who sees Jaws for the rest of their life remembers where they were when they saw it, how old they were, and how it made them feel, and how scared it made them.
And Jaws' box office success meant the approach to summer movies changed forever.
Before Jaws, I don't think Hollywood studios really realized the power of the summer box office and the potential of it.
But after getting that first bite, Hollywood's been feasting on summer blockbusters ever since. Mark Barger, NBC News.
Still ahead, holiday roads. We have the AAA's projections for the Independence Day travel. Stay with us on Coast TV News today. We're at the start of one of the busiest travel seasons of the year. Gas prices still the lowest they've been since 2021, and over the Independence holiday period, AAA predicts nearly 62 million Americans will take a trip by car. Nearly 6 million travelers are expected to fly to their destinations. Los Angeles Lakers are changing hands for the first time in 5 decades. Bus family selling its majority ownership of the team to Mark Walter. He owns the LA Dodgers and is CEO of TWG Global. ESPN is reporting that deal is worth $10 billion. It's about what you make, Bob, right?
Yeah, a little less, just a hair less. We're looking at an outstanding end to the spring season. Ocean View, Gutter Helmet Cam, 80 degrees, warming into the low 80s. Beautiful day for boating as summer arrives later this evening with a nice weekend on the way, and then really hot into next week with a dangerous heat wave. Call the Coast TV First Alert weather phone for your latest forecast, sponsored by Brockstead, Mandalis, Federico. I'll have that toasty 10-day forecast coming up next. In case you missed it, summer begins later this evening. I'm going to get a few strokes in, a little swimming, and I'm sure a lot of folks doing that as we go into the afternoon and weekend. Summer begins tonight at 10:42, 73 degrees. Before then, we're looking at sunshine this afternoon and temperatures into the low 80s. Gorgeous conditions around 85. First weekend of summer on the Paul Davis 10-day forecast. 90 Saturday, 94 Sunday. Intense heat wave Monday through Wednesday may be dangerous with heat indices well into the triple digits. And then some storms on Thursday break the heat wave, 91. A little cooler heading into next weekend.
All right, thanks, Bob. Thank you for being with us on Coast TV News Midday. For more news and local weather, download our apps. And don't forget to join us later for Coast TV News at 5. Till then, have a great Friday, everybody.